Welcome back, everyone, to the Punk Rock Horror Podcast. Speaking of which, I'm Matt.
I'm Cody.
And Miss Eryn, Matt Pooper, Lich Witch McGarry, Zach Bangin' Stalker the First is back.
Eminem face sitting.
No, we gotta save that one.
Oh, Eminem face sitting.
And see, I love Eminem, but there's so many other faces I'd rather sit on.
She's back. And today we're here to remind you that climbing a mountain doesn't necessarily mean you're living your life to the fullest.
Touche.
Actually, you know what's really funny is I was listening to just living life to the fullest. I was listening to Kyle Kincaid. Kinane. And one of his jokes, he's like, you know, I followed all those life things where it's like, live life to the fullest. It's life is short. Do your things that you got to do. And then I got gout. He's like, I did all those things and now I got gout. And everybody's like, how'd you get gout, Kyle? He's like, by drinking beer and eating pizza. Like, how I live life the way I want to do, and then I got fucking disease for it. It's not like, you know, herpes where it's like, at least you got laid. It's, I ate a pizza.
Right. That actually is going to tie into my thing I hate. So, for this Friday, for this week and month and whatever. So, let's jump into it, to something you love and something you hate. Eryn, do you want to start us off or come to you? You can do you last.
Yeah, do me last.
You got it.
Save the best for last.
But
It was like sloppy seconds.
Ironically, they say the same thing in an orgy. Save her for last.
When you're all hot and sweaty. It's
Finish
just,
her.
I will say it's nice that when you come on the podcast, because we can actually have like a female on here that we can make these jokes with and not feel like
we're terrible
creeps.
people.
I pretty much have a penis on the inside. It's fine.
I have a vagina on the inside. It's called my heart.
I have no heart.
We all knew this.
So what do you hate?
Who are you asking?
Matt, you go first. I went first last time.
Okay, so something I hate, it's actually like what I just already mentioned with living your life to the fullest means doesn't necessarily mean climbing a mountain. So I got generally frustrated with people who will climb mountains and put like an inspirational quote when they're at the summit and be like, don't let life carry you back. Years ago, I used to be a drug addict and now I'm climbing mountains and I feel like I've achieved something. And that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that for you.
Good for you.
But for like someone else like me, although I wouldn't mind going hiking, me climbing a fucking 14er every other week doesn't necessarily mean I'm living my life. Like, to me, living life is finding something that makes you generally happy in this world of chaos that's filled with fires and hate. And you can actually forget about it for a second. So if that means going to Cold Stone and getting all brownies and chocolate syrup on your fucking ice cream, and you're happy for that time, fucking right on, man.
Or like watching slutty teens get their faces cut off.
Yeah, fucking right on, man. Like, so I just always kind of, it irks me when it's like, when you think life to the fullest, it's like you have to go on adventures. And again, there's nothing wrong with going on adventures. There's nothing wrong with traveling, but
Everyone's different.
yeah. And I think that should be the primary message is you're different. Find what makes you feel like you're living life to your fullest. Because my mother-in-law, when she was struggling with recovery from a certain disease, one of the things she did was she went and did bungee jumping. And for her, that was living life to the fullest. She wanted to do it once, and that was it. She hasn't done it since then. And I think that's like a perfect example because that to her is living life to the fullest. She did something that she wanted to do, and she felt better because of it. And I think that's far more important than going to the top of the mountain and be like, I listened to Switchfoot on the way up here, and now I feel enthralled, inspired.
Throw in some Nickelback in. That's just
look at this mountain. Look at how it makes me exhausted. For me, though, the thing I love is I've been really obsessed with this new band called Astronoid. They just came out with their first album in like June of this year, and like it's seriously like the band Mew and Coheed and Cambria had a baby. Like, Mew, they're like a popular indie band.
Okay, I thought you were trying to say the Muse, just like you said, Epigy.
No,
or a figgy.
A figgy pudding. Yeah, no. And I don't really like comparing bands to previously established bands, but I know we do that because that's a way to like describe their sound. But I love these guys. It's seriously like I describe it as happy metal because they definitely play like in a higher note, and it's fucking trippy, and it's just fucking inspiring music. I love the shit. Like, it's so fucking good, and I've seen interviews with them, and they're such chill dudes, and like their music is so intricate and orchestrated and technical. It's just fucking beautiful. So everyone check out Astronoid. Cody, what's something you love, something you hate?
So something I love, I think I kind of touched on it on the last episode. I can't remember if we were recording or not, but I finally got to see my dad, and like I'm really close with my dad, and I don't know if I ever said it before, but like he had a really terrible accident like a couple of years ago, and so like I really cherish every time I get to see him.
Has it really been a couple of years?
Yeah, it's been a couple of years since then.
Time flies.
I know. And like it sucked because it's really bittersweet because I don't get to see him as often, and I only got to see him for a day. And so, like, him leaving today, actually this morning, like, really sucked and it really hurt because I wish I had more time with him. But that's like, I really needed that.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say that's how you know you have like an actual like good bond with your dad is like when like those emotions can come up.
Yeah,
like
and so
right
like,
on, man.
So that was something I really loved, and then something I hate.
Here we go.
There was so much that happened this week, just like from fucking social media shit.
Oh god,
like the whole like Nike thing.
Oh yeah.
And it's like I don't want to touch on that more than it already is because it's just again it's like a dead horse. But like
it's
and the whole like players kneeling, that whole entire thing pisses me off. That's what everyone's like pissed off about. And it's like there's so much more. Like why don't you actually look into the issues that why they're kneeling?
Well, what's so fucking ironic about it is that
Tim Tebow kneeled.
Yeah,
that was different though.
I know,
but it's still like kneeling. But
kneeling during the national anthem.
But what's fucking ironic about it is you have like so many people figuring out and be like, well, if they want to be heard out, they shouldn't be going out protesting and destroying stuff. And so when you actually have someone who does protest peacefully, they're like, well, son of a bitch,
stop protesting.
Like,
when you don't stand up during the magical song, the magical cloth won't dance.
Well, I'm just saying it's like and the thing is that like. Fucking when I'm at home watching football, I'm not like standing up at attention with a hat over my heart like during the national anthem. I'm sitting there drinking beer or eating wings.
Yeah.
So it's like I think that whole thing is just super dumb. But like the biggest thing that I hate is actually coming out of like it's from this post where it's like we don't need to like let people have their like pumpkin spice lattes want to do Halloween early type thing. It's like and don't hate on them. Like I'm really behind that quote because it's like just because like I had a big life turn about that kind of stuff like about a year ago where it's like for instance I actually like I've said it before and I'm probably gonna say it again but I actually really like the DCEU for what it is and the new Star Wars movies for what they are. They're fun movies.
Be kind.
Like and it's just like that whole thing is like seriously like some of the like I do find the meme's funny, like making fun of like pumpkin spice bitches, like basic bitch and stuff like that. I was like, well, I'm a basic bitch. I love everything pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin donuts, pumpkin pie, like all of it.
But to degrade someone over,
it's like to degrade someone over that or like the
everything.
One thing, over everything. It's like I can't have one little piece of happiness without someone shitting all over it. Like that's the one thing that I hate the most. It's like fuck you. You don't even know me. Let me have this. Like
it's social media.
Yeah. So, like, that's the biggest thing that I hate the most is, like, just fucking let me have my movie. Let me have my video games. Like, I love Duke Nukem 3D forever. It is a garbage game, but I love that game. It reminds me of my childhood.
Right.
Like,
no, I feel you.
So, that's just kind of the thing that I hate is that how everyone just shits on everything for you. And it's like, fuck off, man. Like, in my head, like, whenever I see someone, like, shit on someone for that, I'm just like, seriously, go kill yourself. The world will be better.
It's
like, but see, the difference is you say it in your head and you don't fucking get on keyboard warrior and start saying it to people. Like,
I mean, if I could, I would probably say it to their face just because they piss me off that much. But I'm not gonna hide behind a fucking keyboard to say it. It's like, so that's kind of my thing. Like that I hate the most is like just let us have this. Like fuck, that's like sometimes that's the one thing that gets someone through the week.
So. Yeah, and I would agree with you on that. It's just, it goes back to what we talked about last week. Be kind, let people enjoy things. As long as the thing is not fucking hurting you or ruining society. It's like, it's probably more, this is going to be controversial what I'm about to say, it's probably more punk rock to like things that everyone's hating at this point.
Right? Like, that seriously, it's like it's more being a rebel that I like the DCEU or that I like, and the pumpkin spice latte. Like, the fucking... Like, when people were hating all over the red Starbucks cups,
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago, that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
That's Satan.
That's so much worse than fucking the kneeling in my opinion, how people were hating on that. And then B, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I went and bought like 30 Starbucks with a red cup and made them all say Krampus every single time. I'm like, fuck, you got Satan, devil, like Satan, Santa Claus.
And then you just gotta keep upping it every time, like Satan's whore. And then like Satan himself. And then Satan's dog.
But it's like, everyone's like, this is bullshit. It's Christmas time. Why are you promoting red? Christmas is a pagan holiday.
Anyways, Eryn, what's something you love, something you hate?
Well, I've got a lot of things that I love right now.
You can just talk about something you hate if you want.
I know I've said it before.
We love you.
But I love your cat.
Okay, you can always...
You love lamb.
I love cat. No, I've said it before, but even more so now. One thing I love is pole dancing. And I think it's more just because, like, kind of what we're talking about, how people are so hateful and so, like, ready to be horrible, especially women. Like, women are freaking terrible to
And this
each
kind of,
other.
like, goes into, like, the slut-shaming territory,
and slut-shaming and all that. But at least at the studio that I go to, all the girls there are so freaking cool. And everybody cheers each other on and is like, you look gorgeous. Like, that was a beautiful move. And it's just really cool to be around a bunch of women that aren't catty.
Yeah. That support each other.
And I'm like, if we all did this,
right?
we'd be in such a better spot as women. It's like when a guy cheats. Like, okay, so say my boyfriend cheats. It's almost like I automatically go after the other girl. Like, bitch, what you think you do? And it's like, no.
He made the choice.
That's him.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something women need to work on.
Well, and maybe
society
maybe
in general.
I'm speaking. Yeah, maybe we're speaking out of place because we're guys, but I do agree with having a daughter and seeing how women are raised. That you're kind of raised in a society where it's you're supposed to take care of your own and supposed to take care of like your husband. And so one thing that goes along with that's kind of like cemented, maybe even low key or whatever, is it seems like if someone messes with your husband, then you have to get on the offensive. But if it's the other way around, like the guy is more applauded for, going for one girl to another girl, moving on. But what if it's a girl that goes from, a guy to another guy, immediately she's a slut. Like,
oh yeah. But I think that the even deeper part of that with women, at least as a woman, being around women, is the insecurity. Like, just because you see a girl that's gorgeous over there doesn't mean you're not pretty too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to sit there and be like, well, she has fucking fat legs, or... Yeah, you don't have to... And I think we're, like, almost pitted growing up to be competitive against each other instead of supportive. And so that's what I love when women are supportive. Things I hate, besides everything, it's just men. Sorry, y'all, but... Oh boy!
I'm just gonna hide under the table.
I like how we just support her.
Fuck you guys. I hate
you fucking sacks with dick appendages. Fuck
you pieces of shit.
Let me correct this.
No,
I hate
our feelings are hurt.
Yeah, you know what?
We're gonna go cry now, and you can run this podcast by yourself.
Any dicks that I have touched. Any man that has ghosted me for no reason. Any man that makes plans with me and then decides, oh, they're not that important. I fucking hate all of you.
Yeah, one guy that she told us about before this, but we won't name because we're all better than you.
But there's a lot of y'all out there.
Yeah, you dicks. Yeah. You cunts.
And to any future men, which inevitably are going to fuck me over as well, I hate you.
We're talking to you, Zach.
No.
You gotta treat them all fairly.
Yeah.
He's an angel.
How do you know?
Yeah.
I know.
No,
you don't know.
I stalk him, remember?
Have you sat on his face or vice versa?
Not yet.
So you don't know what he's like on the inside.
He knows what I'm like on the inside.
No, he doesn't.
That's the whole point of what we're fucking saying this.
I know.
God.
But anyway.
We're leaving. That's it. Have fun. You can run this podcast.
On to good movies and all that.
So...
I could bitch about men for hours, but I won't.
As long as we can bitch about women,
please. Women are just as horrible to you guys. I get it.
Yes, that's true.
I get it.
Thank you. God. Somebody said it.
Seriously.
Yes, high fives all around. We are all terrible to each other.
It goes back to be kind.
Be kind. Just fucking be kind. Like, take 5 minutes.
And as we start movie discussions, I'm going to take a wee-wee.
See, now you can get mad at her because I don't poop anymore.
God, Eryn. Every time, whenever I want to do my movie, someone has to fucking leave. Every time. You know,
what's funny is that it is actually your turn to go first.
I know. That's why I'm like bitter about it. Every time I'm going to do my discussion, it's like, you go poop, Eryn goes pee. I think last time someone else had to leave. I don't even know why I try.
Cody, let's talk about your movie.
No, you know what?
No, let's do it.
No, fuck it.
Let's just open arms right here. Come on, man. Bring it in.
Hate my life.
I don't hate it.
Y'all better hurry up and talk about it.
No, I was waiting until you get back.
I have to go.
No, I want everyone present for once in my life for my movie review.
Girls and gals, we are experiencing technical difficulties. There is a temper tantrum coming on right now.
I have to go PTD and make sure my friends don't drive drunk and die.
I guess I'll just make mine quick then.
Do you want to go first, Eryn, and then so Cody can actually have time?
But no, she'll have to leave in the middle of mine then anyway.
No, I want to talk about yours too. So
okay, go for it, Cody.
So,
okay, I gotta go. Sorry, I had to do it.
Well, I'm just gonna sit here now. I don't even want to do this anymore.
Go,
Anyways,
Cody. Take it away.
So, I know how we usually try and pick like lower key movies or like series and stuff like that. But like I kind of like went off like a big series, but I feel like the later movies were kind of underrated. Like in my opinion, like I know there's a lot of hardcore like Chucky fans and everything, but like I feel like his most recent two have been kind of underrated because they went straight to DVD or Netflix. Mm-hmm. And so I did mine on Curse of Chucky. And so, like, I just remember, like, when I watched it, I thought it was really, really good. Because it still had because, like, you know, Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky went hardcore campiness.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hardcore. And I know a lot of people hate on Seed of Chucky, even though it's one of my personal favorites. Because I have a good memory with it. It was one of the first horror movies I went and saw with my dad. So it's, like, that whole thing. Going back to, like, the thing I love. I got to see my dad. And it goes black.
We're bringing up the info for Curse of Chucky, everyone. Sorry, the Wi-Fi's fucking out.
Bride of Chucky's my favorite. I love Bride of Chucky. Tiffany's my heart.
You know what's funny is, like, I remember liking that, but I've never seen the full movie all the way through in one sitting. I've seen chunks of it. Like, so I know the whole premise. I know the whole movie, but I've only seen chunks of Bride of Chucky, and I'm really upset with myself about it, because I've seen all of the other ones all the way through.
When they were doing the whole...
And I even have all the Chucky movies.
When they were doing the whole, like, versus, like, Freddy versus Jason, Alien versus Predator, some people talked about doing a Chucky versus Leprechaun.
Oh my god.
That'd be a perfect thing.
Jennifer Tilly is awesome in that movie. I think my favorite line is when she says, "I'll kill anybody, but I'll only sleep with someone I love."
That's a good one. Yeah.
I just love
Can't
her.
argue that. So, go ahead, Cody.
Okay, so the synopsis of this one is, after her mother's mysterious death, Nika begins to suspect that the talking red-haired doll her visiting niece has been playing with may be the key to the recent bloodshed and chaos. Directed by Don Mancini. Written by Don Mancini. And Don Mancini. It stars Chantal Casanel, Fiona Dourif, and Jordan Gavaris. And so, fun fact about this movie, like that I think like mostly like hardcore Child's Play fans will know, is that the main character in Cult and Curse of Chucky is actually Brad Dourif's daughter. Like, and Brad Dourif is the voice of Chucky. So like I think that's such a cool thing that like he got his daughter wanted to be in on it and stuff like that, and like, you know, what her dad's mostly known for, and she does fantastic in these movies.
Yeah, because that's a real risky line. Because like I think it's like Godfather Part 3.
Yeah,
the reason why I did so bad is because like the director's daughter screwed up.
And she wasn't a very good actress, and the thing that sucks for her though is that she was thrown in last minute. Because the original actress, like, that's one thing a lot of people overlook, is that the actress who was originally going to be playing that role dipped out last minute, and he was like, I have no one else. Daughter! So, but yeah, so I really enjoyed this movie. I feel like it definitely went back to the basics of, like, what made Child's Play great. They introduced, like, a new kid, because, like, I feel like in Seed of Chucky, and was all about making the kid. There was no kid present. Yeah.
The
whole turkey baster and everything.
As Eryn tries not to laugh.
And then I don't know if in Bride of Chucky, like I don't think Andy was a major part in that one, was he?
No.
No.
I don't know. Was he even in that?
No, I think I'm pretty. Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky. So
it was all about the Tillys.
Yeah,
was actually about Jennifer Tilly being Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah, and it focused on just
Tiffany.
Chucky.
No, Jennifer Tilly plays herself.
Oh yeah.
In Seed of Chucky.
Seed of Chucky.
Even though she still voices Tiffany, and that was the whole ironic part was that Tiffany wanted to be Jennifer Tilly, being voiced by Jennifer.
And then Katherine Heigl's like one of her first movies was Bride of Chucky.
Yeah, I know, right? And so like it went back. I feel like it definitely went back to basics where it had the scary factor instead of just jump scares. It had the creepiness of like Chucky running around and like no one trusting like what the little girl's saying that Chucky actually talks to me and stuff like that, or trusting their instincts about it. And but it still had just enough campiness with like Chucky's one-liners and everything. And so I do have some cons, but like I want to go over my pros for this movie first, because I know I normally don't have a whole lot of cons, and I do have some big cons with this movie. But like my pros for this is like they use the gore sparingly in this movie. Like the goriest part throughout the whole movie is when one of the characters dies because he gets poisoned, and then he tries to drive home, and then he gets in this horrible car accident, and he was known for being an alcoholic, so the cops figured he was just drunk. And he has the top of his car like indented into his neck, and like his sponsor is a cop, and he's like, "Get this off him! He's bleeding to death!" And the firefighter's like, "No, we can't do that. We don't have the authorization for this." And he's like, "Do it!" And they're like, "All right, dude. I mean, whatever." And they take it off, and they like pull the lid off, and his head just falls off, and blood squirts everywhere. And I was like, see, that's what you get for not listening to the firefighter whose job was to do that, but they're like, "We can't do this because we don't have the EMTs to tell us if it's okay." You fucking dumbass. So like, and so it still has the dumb cops, which is kind of like, the con thing. But like, it still has but like, I feel one of my cons for it is I feel like the kills weren't as creative in this movie. Like as other Child's Play, like yes, it like no good amount of times just him stabbing someone, but there's always some kind of creative tweak. Like in Child's Play 2, like he like pulls the thing down and gets one of the guy's eyes like put in with Chucky eyes, and stuff like that. And then like the most creative kill in this entire movie is when he kills one of the females. She's like video calling this person that she's cheating with, and he like kicks over a bucket of water and just fries her. And I was like, that's pretty creative. I was like, it wasn't super gory or anything, like, but it was just like, I like this. Like it was really funny because he's just sitting there, he's like smiling at her, and she just like turns and goes, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Hey, bitch." And so like I thought that was really cool. And then so it's like it's a pro and a con for me. I like that they actually extend on the backstory of Charles Lee Ray. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so you end up finding that Chucky has a connection to this family that you're following. And so like I like that they extend on the backstory. The only thing that bugs me about the backstory that they extended on is that it doesn't show where Tiffany comes from.
Tiff, you mean?
Yeah, Tiff. It doesn't show where she comes from, how she fits into Chucky's life, because it like goes way back into his past for like how he relates to this family. But and then it shows the leading up to how how he possessed the doll and everything. Like it doesn't reshoots like the beginning of Child's Play, where he's being chased by the cops, like why he's being chased by the cops and stuff like that.
Well, wasn't this movie supposed to be like a retcon originally?
No, because here's the thing is that so it looks like it's actually going to be a retcon / reboot of the Child's Play universe and everything, but then kind of spoiler, but like plot twist, it shows that he's the original doll. Oh, like the doll that they get, because it's all brand new. It's even like styled different and everything, like looking. But then like there's a point where it removes like paint, like or like glue and stuff from his face, and it shows all of his scarring that he got like more and more haggard throughout the movies and stuff, and it shows all those scars, and you're like, oh shit, and like it relates to like how this is actually a continuance of the story.
Okay.
So that's like one of the big things that I really liked about it is that it was actually a continuation instead of this bullshit MGM remake that they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And oh my god.
I can't believe they're doing that.
But what I'm happy about this is that
we should have talked about that for something we hate.
I know. I think we did at some point.
Oh, probably.
But like, but the cool thing about this is that these movies are actually leading up to a TV series that they're going to continue the original.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I feel like
I'm excited for that one.
I'm excited because Ash versus the Evil Dead was continuance of the Evil Dead series, and it did really, really good.
And then they had to fucking make everyone depressed and cancel it.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
But another con I had was there's this part where the main character Nika, who's played by I always forget her name, but Brad Dourif's daughter, she figures out how Charles Lee Ray is related to the family, and that Chucky is alive, and like she figures out that he's alive, he's been possessed and stuff like that by Charles Lee Ray, and she's yelling at her older sister, that like who you find out is actually cheating on her husband. And there's been a camera, and the husband tells the wife that there's been a nanny cam in the Chucky doll. And she's yelling at her. She's like, stay away from the doll. I know what's inside it. And the sister is like, you know what's inside this? And like, you could totally see that Nika is just like, wait, you know what's inside? And she's just like, you bitch. And like the other sister like freaks out because she's like, you knew like my husband was spying on me, instead of like, they never say to each other what's in the doll, and it bugs the shit out of me because like
why not say it?
Yeah, like when she's like, put this doll down, I know what's in it, because it also looks like if Nika knew there was like the camera.
Right.
The other sister, she'd be like, wait, you knew? And like of course Nika's like, put the doll down. You think the other sister would be like, oh shit. Huh! You knew about my husband. No, instead she's like, you're a bitch. Fuck you, you crippled coat. Like. And so, like, that's one thing that really bugged me. But, like, my biggest con throughout the whole movie is in the beginning, Chucky steals, like, a kitchen knife and hides it in his, like, overalls.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole fucking movie, the little girl's hugging it. Everyone has hugged it. No one notices the knife until way late in the movie. Then, one of the sisters, like, goes, hey, what's this lump that everyone should probably been feeling? And like a sharp blade and a doll, and she finally pulls out the like kitchen knife. I'm just like, no one's felt that. Like really? Fucking, I have like, you hug a Tickle Me Elmo, you feel that fucking battery pack. I don't care how fluffy the goddamn thing is. Or like you make your own Build-A-Bear, and you have this tiny little battery that goes in there that sings or whatever. You can fucking feel it when you hug it, and this little girl's like hugging on him, and she's not like, hey, there's a sharp thing stabbing me in my stomach, like. Mommy
has a knife.
So that's another one of my big cons, and like, I guess so. Like another thing that always pisses me, it's the sister. She pisses me off so much in this movie, Nika's sister, because like she's super religious. So Nika is crippled. Like it's not a spoiler. She's fucking crippled, like from the get go.
You've already dropped like 10 spoilers.
I know,
fine.
I know, but like, and so and the sister's trying to send her to like like a retirement community for cripples, type thing, and like, and just she pisses me out through the whole movie because she like says nobody thinks about me. It's like, bitch, all you do is think about yourself.
You think you're about
like you're trying to tell your crippled sister to go somewhere else so you could sell your home, like.
And that's because, like, and you're saying crippled because she keeps calling her crippled throughout the movie, right?
She hints at it the entire time.
Okay.
Like. Sorry,
No, I know, because I know you're talking like how she's talking, and so adding it to your frustration.
And so like that's one thing that frustrates me, that her sister's just such a twat throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
So like
she should be saying handicap.
Yeah. My bad.
I get it, because like you're what's the word I'm thinking of? You're rephrasing what she said.
Yeah.
Or you're quoting her. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're quoting her because that's like
her entire intent throughout the whole movie is like, she's like taking all her frustrations out on her sister because she's handicapped, and she's like doing it in a very demeaning way.
Yeah.
So that's why I keep saying crippled.
Yeah. But, just so our listeners know,
yes.
We're not trying to be offensive.
But one thing that I like about the movie is that it really does play back to how Chucky was, and and the other thing that I really like, I'm not going to say how, But, like, it's one of the few... As everyone knows, I think a horror movie is better when the villain wins. Mostly because, like, in a lot of scenarios, it's just like, how the fuck did they lose that? Like, come on. And I know in Chucky movies, it's mostly because, like, he does the stereotypical montage at the end. Of, like, he, like, keeps... Or not montage.
Explaining his plot.
He just rambles on forever.
Yeah.
But in this movie, like, it's not a happy ending in a sense unless you're rooting for Chucky. And, like, but it's done so well and it makes sense of, like, what would happen in real life. Like, if this actually happened. Because, in, like, all the other movies, like, I don't know, like, when you think about it, how, like, the adults get away with not being put away for, like, all these murders or even, like, tried for these murders or anything.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, what the fuck? So the police are like, oh, that burnt up doll obviously did it. And it's like, in this movie, like, it, like, goes, here's kind of what actually happened in the real world.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, that's one thing I really like. And there's such a good twist at the end. It's so good, and I love it. And then the Curse of Chucky, the beginning, like, almost retcons that twist ending in a sense to make another twist ending. And they did such a good job with these movies. But I just liked Curse of Chucky a little bit more because it was the least campy out of the both. Like, it had just enough camp and just enough horror.
So ending words. What's why should people give it a second shot?
I think you should definitely get a second shot, especially if you love the Child's Play movies and you kind of got burnt out from, like, the start of the uber campiness with, like, Child's Play 2 and especially with Bride of Chucky into the full-on campiness of, like, Seed of Chucky, and you, like, wanted that horror back. That's why you should watch this movie, because it balances both, but it definitely leans more toward the horror, and the only real campiness is, like, Chucky's one-liners that he ends up saying. So,
all right,
yeah.
There's no doll fucking in that one.
There's definitely no doll fucking.
Any interesting facts for this one?
Yeah, interesting facts. One I already said, the actress who plays Nika, Fiona Dourif, is the real life daughter of Brad Dourif, who provides the voice of Chucky. This is actually kind of cool. The knife Charles Lee Ray uses during the flashback sequence is the same knife Chucky uses throughout the first Child's Play movie.
Yeah.
I thought that's cool because I was like, I know I've seen that knife before, and I haven't seen the first Child's Play in a very long time. Brad Dourif, the voice of Chucky, recorded all of his lines in less than a day, and the whole film was shot in 30 days.
It's pretty damn good.
Yeah, and they did a really good job.
Can I throw out one?
Sure.
I was going to say, I thought it was really interesting that this is the first film in the series to have Charles Lee Ray in it since the original in 1988.
Oh, that's right.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So they really put a lot of care and time and attention into it.
Yeah.
So, with that being said,
I would if I could.
We shall now move on to our next movie. Eryn, do you want to jump on it? Because you actually did do a movie this time.
I did.
Like, and you didn't do it, like, you actually did a full-on review. I'm not doing a full, like, what is it, like, 10, 15-minute review? You're actually going to do a full-on review, right?
I mean,
like,
I was going to talk about it.
Honestly.
Okay, I was like, what?
You're like, huh? So, since you're doing an actual, like, your own type of review for a movie, I brought out the info for you.
Perfect. So I picked May.
Hold on, I gotta peek.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
Doesn't bother me.
I know. It doesn't happen to you as often.
Because, I mean, obviously, when we were talking about dolls, my first jump to was, like, Bride of Chucky, but that's, like, obviously, that's going to come up when Cody talks. So I was like, well, what is another good doll movie? I remember how much I loved May. And I saw it when I was younger, and so I didn't really get it. But I watched it again last night, and I was like, holy shit. It's kind of scary how much I relate to her. Like, as an adult, I'm like, oh, here I am. My life is falling apart. I don't know. I absolutely love this movie. I love a lot of the actresses. And I forget the one guy's name.
If you want, I could read the information for the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you want to do it, it's your choice.
May is a lonely young woman traumatized by a difficult childhood, and her increasingly desperate attempts to connect with people around her is sent into a murderous tailspin. Sounds. I mean, that pretty much sums me up, minus the murderous tale.
Yeah, I was like, so who have you killed?
Yet. I don't know yet.
It's all about the pooping first.
Yeah.
Dora, I'll help you out. It's directed by Lucky McKee and written by Lucky McKee. Stars Angela Bettis, Jeremy Sisto, and Anna Faris.
See, told y'all she was in there.
All right, go for it. Why do you love this movie?
I just love the concept, and I thought it was kind of a cool twist on a doll movie, because it's not really a possessed doll. Like, we don't even really know at the end, you know. But, it's okay if I spoil things, right? Since we're all...
I mean, I did, basically.
Yeah, you can spoil things. If the spoiler's big enough, we can tell, like, listeners to skip ahead a certain amount of minutes. So, just at your own discretion, decide what is and isn't too big of a spoiler.
Okay. Well, I just think, it's... I don't know if it's, like, underrated, but it's a less heard of, because I don't...
Because I've never heard of it.
I would agree with it being underrated.
Yeah. Like, people don't really know about it, and, I mean, it does have Anna Faris in it, and I don't know if... I mean, definitely wasn't one of her, like, first movies, but it was before she was, like, super-duper well-known. And Jeremy Sisto, I feel like I see him in a lot of things, and he's always the douchey guy that all the girls want to bang, and I'm like, but why? He ain't even cute.
Well, and I think what's, like, really cool about it, like, the movie, is that it shows her... Not only does it touch into, like, her traumatization that when she went through, but it shows progressively, like, how far off she's going throughout the movie just to find the perfect, like, affection from someone.
And it's almost like it's a fluid affection. She doesn't really care who it comes from, because at one point she's into Jeremy Sisto, and then at another point she's into Anna Faris, and they have this weird sort of sordid affair.
Yeah.
But both times, the guy ends up getting another girl and flaunting it in her face, and then Anna Faris gets a girl and flaunts it in her face. So it's like, no matter what she does, she can't find this connection that she's looking for. And I think this is a pretty big spoiler. So
listeners, if you don't want to get spoiled for you, we will give Eryn here 5 minutes to talk about it, and you guys can skip ahead 5 minutes.
I'd say it's probably only going to be like 2 minutes.
Okay, you can skip ahead 2 minutes.
2 minutes. 2 minutos.
So you can skip ahead 2 minutes, listeners, in 3, 2, 1.
And I think at the end, when she finally has all the body parts to make the doll, or her friend, and she pulls out her own eye and is crying next to the doll as she's dying, and it's just like, please see me, just look at me, see me. And I just thought that was sort of...
There's a heart to it.
I mean, it made me so sad, because in some ways we've all felt like that at some point, where it's like that whole cliche of feeling alone in a crowded room.
Yeah.
Like,
we've all been the basket case.
Yeah. And nobody sees you, and nobody's looking at you, and giving you that attention, and it broke my heart to see her like that, even though she murdered everybody.
Well, in the movie and in the ending, it perfectly encompasses that feeling, that what it's like to be that kid, what it's like to be that person, where it's like, you know you're a great person, so why isn't everyone noticing you? And so it works on two fronts, because not only is it a solid horror movie, but it's also like a very provocative like horror movie, because it actually like makes you think, and it's one of those few rare horror movies that like isn't all about the shock of it, but is also about like
the psychological horror.
Like, you can't really hate the protagonist or antagonist in this, because they're human and you can relate to it.
And as far as like pros and cons, I have no cons really, except for that she fucking kills the cat. That upset me.
No, you can make that a con. That's totally fair.
That upset me a lot. I mean, obviously,
it's your opinion.
But otherwise, I as I watched it, I didn't really. There was no parts in it that I was like, oh, okay, like I don't like this at all. So I mean, that's the only con for me, was the cat. I think that part wasn't necessary, and I think most of the time in movies when they kill the animals, it's not a necessary thing.
Yeah,
I don't know, but a lot of people don't care.
And so, with that being said, we are now back from the spoilers. So, but I think you have a very good point here. Like, this horror movie touches on more of a human level with it, and you know, you get more enthralled, and you kind of like support her killing people.
Like you understand it in a weird way.
And it's funny when like a horror movie can actually like be like, yeah, fucking get him.
Well, it's like Dexter. You're like rooting for Dexter to get all these monsters. Mm-hmm. But even though these people in the movie aren't monsters, I mean, they treat her horribly, but they're not, straight up they're just jerks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I relate to it so much in that way. And she has her own doll that's like her best friend.
Yeah.
And there's the whole scene with the blind kids trying to get the doll.
Oh, that's right.
I had totally forgotten about that. And then there's all the glass, and she ends up covered in blood.
Yeah.
It's just the weirdest, and it's almost like it takes you out of the story a little bit, because you're like, this is just so unrealistic.
Yeah.
But it kind of
came out of left field.
Yeah. It was just like, this is so weird. Why is she with a bunch of kids? This woman does not be around children.
She killed a fucking cat.
This bitch needs to go. But as far as pros, I think it's a really good... I mean, just overall, to me, it's one big pro because of how it balances the psychological horror. Mm-hmm. And you kind of see her downfall a lot. And I think they do a really good job with that. It's not just
you see her come from, like, the hero become to the villain. Turn into the villain, right?
And not even, like, the hero, but just the average person and how easy it is to slip and fall into being a villain.
So, like, eventually, like, your psyche twists enough that eventually snaps, and hers snapped.
Yeah.
And
hers takes one bad day.
It takes one
bad day. How close are all of us? It makes you think, like, literally, how close are we all?
And hers is just tragic.
Yeah.
It's just, it's tragic, and it's a solid film.
It's
and so I think it's great they made the choice, and I know Cody agrees too.
You need to see it.
So,
yep.
It's worth watching.
Do you mind if I point out 2 facts for you?
Go for it.
So 2 facts is, originally the film opened with a lengthy introduction to May as a child, but when the film appeared to be taking too long to get to its point, most of these scenes were cut. The opening with the adult May, specifically the first scene with her and her doll, were shot quickly and only to make the point that May was lonely as quickly as possible. And then the teenage girl who asks May, got any cold ones in there? Is dressed up as a zombie cheerleader in the exact same costume and makeup from Lucky McKee's very first movie, All Cheerleaders Die, which came out in 2001.
Love it.
So, solid pick, Eryn.
Awesome.
It definitely works on all levels. And so, I am filling up time by talking so I can pull up information for my movie.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and I gotta get going.
Oh, no!
What movie did you pick?
I picked Puppet Master 3.
Which I have never seen any of the Puppet Masters, so this is perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I've never seen them either.
I really want to see them because I've heard so much about them, and
you
they're
can
like
always stay
super
for the
classic.
review. I'm just saying. I'm going to talk about it. Anyway,
well, I always listen to the episodes. So.
Don't you lie to me.
I listen on Spotify. That's my chosen method. Unless I'm at work, and then I use the website.
Listening. All right, listeners, Eryn is going to step out really quick, and so we're going to take a very quick pause to say goodbye to her, and we will be right back.
Love y'all.
So maybe hey, there we are. And we're back, everyone. So, Eryn said that she loves all of you, and that you ghouls and gals are beautiful, amazing, and handsome.
Except for that one guy.
That, you know who you are. We know that you totally, like, fucking are not courteous on the road. God, you cut people off all the time. We know it. Get your shit together.
We're watching you.
Stop being a fucking monster.
We know who you are.
Stop being that guy.
Don't be that person.
So
Matt, your movie review.
My movie is Puppet Master 3, Toulon's Revenge. It was directed by David Decoteau, written by Charles Band and C. Courtney Joyner, and stars Guy Rolfe, Richard Lynch, and Ian Abercrombie. And the synopsis is, a puppeteer's ability to bring inanimate objects to life attracts the attention of the Nazis during World War II. Of course, I picked a movie where it's puppets versus Nazis.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
It shouldn't surprise anyone at this point. So, my pros.
Can I just go out of that real fast? Like, I
what?
know it's like one of those, political things, but like, Nazis are bad. Even puppets know that they should fight Nazis. Like, come on.
Even puppets know you should punch a Nazi.
Yeah, seriously.
It's a fucking puppet. Anyways, too bad the puppet in the White House doesn't know that. Boom! Anyways,
fucking whoop it.
So that's actually one of my pros, is that it's puppets versus Nazis. How can you not fucking like a premise like that? Like, it's just like fucking guys fucking up zombie Nazis.
Yeah.
Like, it's just as fun. So my pros, the care and attention to detail with the puppets in this movie is absolutely amazing. And even comes off charming. So, like, what I mean is, like, the way the puppets are crafted, and, like, it's actually very well done. And it's not... It's far less creepy than it more is charming.
Yeah.
Like, even with the ones with the black eyes, like, yeah, it's creepy, but, like, it's distinguishable. Like, you can generally tell, like, each puppet is its own character. And because they have one that's, like, a jester that has, like, a face that switches. Kind of like, what's that one, He-Man bad guy, the one with the switching.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like that guy. And then
I was thinking more of the mayor from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, that's also a good example. Or then they have one that's called like Pinhead, and he's the muscle. And then you have one that is a 6-shooter, and he literally is like a cowboy with 6 arms that shoots. Like, so like the puppets are just absolutely amazing and really make this movie for what it is. And it's like, that's most of the reason why you should check this movie out, is just for the puppets. Like, because the only other movie that I can think that has like marionette puppets that are fun to watch is Team America World Police.
Which they're doing a sequel, and it's called Space Force.
Yeah, that's right. You're talking about that. That's going to be great. And so this is actually a good prequel to a horror movie franchise, because I know sometimes when they they do introduce like a prequel, because I think like Exorcist 2 or 3 was a prequel to the Exorcist movies.
Yeah,
that one didn't do too well. This one does pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it does a really good job of talking about like how the puppets kind of came to be and who made them. And so I like it because it's a good prequel to a horror movie franchise, and I really do stand by that. And in this movie, there was a quote that was said by our protagonist, Andre Toulon, who's played by Guy Rolfe, or maybe it's Rolfie. My apologies if I gotten that messed up. But he says a quote when he's being confronted by one of the Nazi soldiers, because part of his show shows a funny, sad-faced Hitler being shot by the 6-shooter puppet, right? And this is during Nazi Germany, so this is Nazis and bout. So when the soldier comes up and confronts Guy Rolfe's character, he's like, that doesn't seem that funny, and our protagonist responds with, political satire is one of the marks of a healthy society. And I just love that quote, because in this day and age, that is something that is very important that we should really, really remember. Yeah. That we need to be able to laugh at ourselves and laugh at each other. And I know it's kind of like a weird thing to take out of a horror movie, but that's why I wanted to take it out, because it's just such a good modern quote for right now. It adds to the charm of this movie and why you really stand by the hero and why you stand by these puppets as well. And that's what another pro is, that there's so much charm and heart in this movie.
Sorry, just to go back. It was fake.
What was?
Team America 2 Space Force.
Aww.
I feel really dumb right now because I was all excited about it, and I was like, I should probably research this real fast. I apologize.
It's okay, buddy. We can pretend.
I
know. But yeah, there's so much charm and heart in this movie, and that's like a weird thing to say for like a fucking horror movie, and I think that's why I love it as a pro. Yeah. Because there's like not as much of a scare factor, but there's a lot of charm and there's a lot of heart, and that's why I like this movie, because it's kind of like the more badass, Geppetto. Yeah. Fucking, and that's what I love about it. It's just a fucking charming movie. Like you end up really liking it, and you can see why this is like a mainstay horror movie for like evil dolls and puppets. Like it's just fucking good like that.
You know what's funny is like so like I always kind of like, because I've never seen the Puppet Master movies. Right. Is like, I don't know why whenever I like would see those movies, I always thought they were kind of like the B movie satire-esque things. Like whenever I saw trailers for them and stuff, because like I always thought they were like, I don't know, it was supposed to be like, the Ginger Dead Man type thing. Like that's what I kind of got from all the trailers. So it's like, it's kind of like just hearing your pros and stuff for it, like kind of makes me want to watch them.
Yeah, it's because it's definitely its own thing. It stands out from not being like a Chucky movie. It's because the way the movie the franchise goes is that there's a point where the dolls are evil that do become good at some point. And it's just it's a little convoluted, but they're good movies. And I'm not gonna lie, some of the films in the franchise are kind of. But,
yeah, like Puppet Master 5.
Yeah. Like,
I haven't seen it, but I've heard nothing but bad things.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've seen it yet either. I'm not sure. I know I want to watch the most recent one that came out because there is a new one. But this one is chock full of charm and heart, and I love it. And the kills in this movie, there isn't as much, but the ones that are, they're the kills that are so creative that you have to appreciate the inventiveness. So like, key point, when they first capture Miss Toulon, and they're like, we're gonna use your stuff for our Nazi experiments, right? They're taking him in a car, and so he has like Pinhead and Screwhead. I think that one's called Screwhead because one of the puppets has an actual like spinning drill on top of its head, and so like one of the puppets holds down one of the Nazi guards in his like car seat, and that's Pinhead, and then the one with the Screwhead comes up from the back of the seat and drills through the back of the seat, through the guy's chest, and just pops out like Alien. So I'm just like, bravo. Good job.
That was good.
Good job.
I mean, they're killing Nazis. You kind of appreciate it.
You just fucking tore shit up.
Yeah.
So, and it's, and that's one thing I want to touch on is that the practical effects of this movie are really fucking good. Because they have another doll in here who, like, throws up like leeches, but they're super like steroid leeches that immediately drain like a person's blood, and so like it's a girl doll, but like you can like the way they do it is they show that the mouth like is like extending kind of like a snake, and it just throws up, and it's all practical effects, so it's fucking great, and that's why I'm making it a pro. So right on. And what really also helps with this movie's charm is that it doesn't rely on shocking gore as much.
Yeah.
Or like, you have Chucky where it's like burnt off face with like acid, or just like, like you mentioned the stab through the eyes.
Yeah.
Like this one doesn't do a lot of shocking gore. And as someone who loves gore, I can kind of appreciate with how they just fucking did this movie. With how they did the kills in this movie, because it's inventive, it's creative. They wanted to have fun with it, but not gross people out too much.
Yeah,
and so it's nice. And the final kill in this movie is absolutely dope. I don't want to give it away or even talk about it because it's just so fucking good, and it's so well done, and the character interaction between our protagonist and antagonist in it is just good. It's a fucking good kill. It's inventive, and I love it. But obviously, I do have some cons. This movie does have some moments where it can be slow, and I'm not gonna lie. There's a couple times where like I went on Facebook during some scenes, like and that works for some people. Some people do like a good slow pace to the horror movies. For me, I don't. I think it takes too much of a slow pace for the movie to progress. And now those are two separate cons, and I'm making one because it ties into each other. But it just kind of takes a slow pace in the beginning and kind of close to even the middle of its story progression. But it progresses and it's good. So don't let the slow pace turn your way. I'm just letting you know that it is slow. And the fact that there is a lack of intense gore might turn others off. I know, like me, I'm a gore hound and I can appreciate little gore. But I know for a lot of people, like, because being exposed to Chucky, you get used to like a lot of intense kind of kills and gore. So this movie might turn you off with that because it doesn't have it as much. And the fact that there's almost no scare factor, I have to make a con because there isn't really suspense. There isn't really something that like shocks you and scares you.
Yeah.
It's just kind of there in certain spots, and so I made that a con. And then I'm just also a little bummed out by the lack of killings in this movie because there isn't a lot of killings in this movie. And for Puppets vs. Nazis, I thought there would be a lot more.
Yeah.
But there isn't. There's maybe a total of like 5, and that's just me making a rough guess. And so that I'm making that a con because it's just kind of a letdown that there isn't as much killings. But other than that, that's really the majority of my cons. The last one I have is that there's a scene in the movie where Toulon is hiding away in like abandoned building, and so there's a scene where a Nazi soldier walks into the hideout, and that's the abandoned building, and the way they made this shot is just so fucking confusing because when the Nazi soldier walks through the doorway, it looks like he's right across the room from like fucking Toulon. Like there isn't a barrier between them. Yeah. It just looks like he's like across the room. So all that Toulon does is like blows out like his fucking like tiki torch, which that's also something I'm gonna like bring up. Blows out his tiki torch and just and he's just like, stay still. So it just looks like he's just fucking sitting at this table, and then Nazi's like just across at the door and just like, and he's just across from him sitting still, and he's like, Nazis don't notice you if you don't move. like fucking, that's what it comes off like, and I mean that's obviously not how the room's set up, but the way they do that shot, it just really hurts that scene. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, is he just like fucking like pretending not to? I'm like, doesn't look like any puppet creators over here. Oh well. Back to the theater. And so a couple WTFs I have is that, so I actually did a little looking. So in the hideout, it looks like Toulon has a tiki torch. Like it looks like they just cut off this like stem of the tiki torch and just have the candle. And so like it's kind of what the fuck, because like tiki torches weren't invented till the 1950s, which is like way after fucking like Nazi Germany. And so, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they had something similar to it, but I'm just like, why the fuck is there a tiki torch? Did he just steal it from some suburban, like, backyard that's having a barbecue? And, like...
Yes.
Like,
we have to have the luau party.
Hey, Stefan, bring me the wieners.
You want some Wiener Schnitzel?
No!
Oh, I like un strudel.
To all our Germany listeners... We're just making fun of Nazis, okay? Fucking.
I mean, I'm German, so I get to say it.
So Cody's cool, but you can be mad at me. And then the kid in this... So there's a kid in this fucking movie that I think, like, he, like, huffed paint or something. Like, and he's... So, like, he's, like, fascinated with, like, Toulon's, like, character, like, the puppets and, like, the show and whatnot. And so, fucking, like, he just wants to be, like, Toulon's assistant, right? Mm-hmm. And so, fucking...
Right.
So, fucking, like, it honestly makes me think of the new show, Disenchantment, the fucking brother in there. It's just fucking... Like, he makes me think of him the entire fucking time. Because, like, he's just, like... So it's like fucking Nazi Germany. Like, he's separated from his mother. He's hiding out with his dad. Like, all his friends and family are dead. It's a tragic time. And he's just like, oh, puppets, sweet! And I'm just like, and I get it. Like, kids during that time had to find something to be happy for. Everyone did. But, like, when you're in the fucking hideout, you're just like, hey, can I be assistant to your puppet? Hey, why are you so glum?
Cheer up, Buttercup.
It's not like we're a Nazi... Oh. like, and I'm just like, God, I kind of want this kid to trip. Like, just fucking, he's just Nazi Germany. Get the fuck together. So like, that's just kind of something I made at WTF. But that being said, this is a pinnacle series in horror movies, and it's a pinnacle series in evil doll horror movies, and it deserves far more attention than like it's been given. And I know people kind of like talk about it and like, you know, under the breath mention it and whatnot, but it deserves far more love because it's a horror movie where they fucking use marionette puppets to tell a story. Mm-hmm. Like, and their focus of it, and that's fucking ambitious and deserves a lot of praise, really.
So in this one, like, the puppets are obviously the good guys, and the other ones, are they the bad guys?
Yeah, there's some are the bad guys, and like, so like there's like the one that comes out of this one, which is Puppet Master 4, and talks about like puppets that go from bad to good. Okay. And so like that's kind of when they make their transition from being bad evil puppets to being good puppets.
Okay.
So
like the first two Puppet Masters are like the evil? Yeah. Okay.
And this even had a good crossover with Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. Like, and it's a solid B movie, like horror movie. Mm-hmm. Like something you would probably see on Sci-Fi, but it's actually pretty well done because you see fucking puppets go at it and kill each other. Like, and it's a good fucking like franchise, and it's honestly probably one of those few movies I would say that you could actually show to one of your kids and actually have them watch. Like maybe not this one because of all the Nazi, you know, propaganda and stuff like that. Yeah. But the Puppet Master series, some of them are actually pretty low key, and they're probably one of the few horror movies that I watched when I was younger that I could watch all the way through without getting super scared by. Because they're very low key. There's like not too intense scare factors. And
it's like, oh, look at the puppet.
Yeah. Look at the puppet. Look at the figgy puddings.
I still can't believe you were saying that the entire time.
I was so serious about it, too.
I know. Like, did you just say a figgy?
It's like, what am I supposed to say?
Effigy.
But seriously, guys, ghouls and gals, check out this movie. It's fucking great. So a couple interesting facts about it is, so the surgery scene in the opening had to be toned down to make it less intense upon request from producer Charles Band in Paramount Pictures. Six Shooter, that's the name of the puppet, was chosen to resemble a cowboy after it was decided that one of Toulon's puppets should represent the opposition towards the Third Reich. So like patriotism, America, fuck you. Basically. Location scenes of Nazi Germany were originally set to be filmed in Romania, but were cancelled because of political instability in that country. Second choice was Hungary, but weather conditions during winter were judged too harsh for filming. Eventually the location, quote-unquote location, footage was shot on the pack lot of Universal Studios.
I want to read this one.
Okay, go ahead.
Six Shooter was originally going to be a six-armed ninja, but was changed to a cowboy since the writer was a big Western movie fan. And it also made sense in the story as Six Shooter would represent as an American. The artist who created the poster used a 1988 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles foot soldier toy as a base for Six Shooter. There was a ninja puppet and Puppet Master Axis of Evil. I don't know. That don't make sense to me though. Why would you have Six Shooter be a ninja?
Because, like, all the arms, like...
I know, but then why would you name him Six Shooter? Because Six Shooter, you automatically correlate with...
Well, they probably gave him a different name at the time, like Six-Armed Ninja. I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Spider Ninja?
Yeah. Spider Ninja. Spider Ninja does whatever a Spider Ninja does.
What he does, we don't know because we can't see him because he's fucking ninja.
With six arms.
And maybe you'd even have six arms. I don't know. I guess it... Fucking, yeah.
It just said a six-armed ninja.
Okay. Jesus.
Just saying.
With that, listeners, we are at the end of this episode. Thank you again. First off, big announcement. We are finally, we peaked. It went over 100 followers on our Facebook. So thank you to all of our followers on our Facebook, and thank you to all of our followers on our Twitter who have joined us and followed us, and all of our followers on Instagram as well.
Yep.
Thank you so much. If you want to support the show, please consider going over to our Patreon and becoming a Patreon supporter. If you want to learn more about us and check out a badass photo shoot we were in that's covered in blood and guts and just fun, please go over to our website, punkrockhorrorpodcast.com. It'll be in the page called The Darker Side of PRHP. So
it's not even that dark.
And that's why it's fun.
I know. I think my dad was telling me, he said he finally looked at it, like, because Anna was showing him, because he stopped in Castle Rock and everything.
Yeah.
And he was like, that website looks great. So shout out to Anna again. And he was just talking about the photo shoot. He was like, what's that video that you guys did? Like, did you just, like, shoot it all and then just took shots of it? I was like, no, Dad, it was a photo shoot. And he's like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. But he was like, it was ridiculous. I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, check it out, everyone. It's great. One thing we should touch on, though, is because I posted a question on Twitter some time back about if me and you should finally have our own personal Twitters and Instagrams.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And I told people to love and retweet it, and we got maybe like 3 people. So, I don't know. It's still kind of debate for me to make a personal Twitter and Instagram, just because, like, I'm weird about my personal life.
Oh, me too. But I rarely post things on Facebook. Usually it's just a share.
Right. But I also like having an avenue for listeners to feel more connected to us, because I know everyone all the ghouls and gals tune in, every other week and let us improve their days and make them laugh and help them out in that way. But I don't know. I kind of want to do it and just see how it goes. I mean, what do you think? I don't know. I'm still debating about it because I'm the same way. I'm really self-conscious about my personal life. Like, I don't like posting a lot of shit because, like, especially like with some of the things going on right now, when I hear about other people, how much they post about themselves on Facebook and like the shit they post, I'm just like, dude, Yeah, but I think
come on.
I think our listeners kind of know what they're getting into when we post something, because I think they know we're generally just fucking sarcastic as ever in satire, and aren't actually gonna like try to fucking offend anyone just to be.
No, I know, but I also feel like I don't know. Just like with my personal opinions, like I don't like the only people I want to know anything really about my personal life are the ones that I'm already talking to that know about my personal life.
Well, it's not like we have to like put stuff about like our families on there. But
no, I know. It's just like that's just kind of my opinion with it.
Yeah,
like just how I feel, because like I don't know. I feel especially with anything on social media anymore, like anything can be fucking offensive anymore. It's like, dude, fuck you.
Right.
Be kind.
We're still talking about listeners. We'll eventually we'll come out with our own personal Twitters and Instagrams that you can follow us on, and
maybe.
It's gonna take a little bit longer for Cody than me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, listeners, thank you again for tuning in every other week to support us and listen to us and let us improve your days. And thank you for sharing us with your family, your family and friends, and talking about us. Seriously, you guys and gals and ghouls and gals, all of you are amazing, and we are so happy to come on to this and do this and make you guys not only appreciate horror a little more, but also laugh.
Yep.
And again, if you want to come and check out the Life of the Party collab that we're going to have in October, there's a whole page dedicated to it on our website, punkrockhorrorpodcast.com. That's just called the Life of the Party, so go there for details. You can get the location and the time, and there's more on there. And yeah, if you want to keep up with everything we're doing and get involved in future listener participation corners, which I know we didn't do one this past Monday, and I'm sorry everyone, that's my mistake. It just kind of came down to last minute. We weren't able to do one, so I apologize. But if you want to follow us, please like us and follow us on Facebook, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, and our Twitter at officialphp.
Instagram, Punk Rock Horror Podcast, hashtag PRHP.
And if you want to send us your band info for a band interview or strange stories that you want us to share in our Monday episodes, please send them to our email at punkrockhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. And you can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Player FM, our website, pretty much everywhere, Google Play.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, thank you again, ghouls and gals, for tuning in, and podcast over.
Podcast over.
Bye.
Bye.